A movie theater barely makes a dime from the movie. You hand over $12 for a ticket, and you assume that's the business. It isn't. Most of that money is already gone, promised to someone else before you even sit down. The real business is a little counter in the lobby and a bag of popcorn with a markup that should honestly be illegal. But that's just the start. Follow this all the way down, and it ends somewhere insane. The biggest theater chains on Earth, buried under billions in debt, quietly trying to turn themselves into the exact same machine as a car wash. Stay with me. Start with your ticket. $12 for the big new release, opening weekend. Here's what nobody tells you. The studio that made the film takes a massive cut of your ticket, and on a blockbuster's first weekend, it can be 60, 70, sometimes up to 90%. The theater keeps a thin sliver of the exact thing you came for. And why would anyone agree to that? Because of a clever little trap buried in the deal. The split slides. Week 1, the studio grabs the lion's share. Every week after, the theater keeps a little more. It's a bribe. A movie is worth the most on opening night and loses value fast. So the studio front-loads its cut, and that sliding scale quietly pays the theater to keep the film on screen long after the crowds are gone. Over a full run in America, it roughly lands at 50-50. Half your ticket, just gone. So if the movie barely pays, how is the theater still standing? Walk back out to the lobby. That $8 tub of popcorn? It costs them somewhere around 50 to 90 cents to make. Corn, a splash of oil, a paper bag. That is a markup north of 1,000%. 90% gross margin on the popcorn. 85% on the soda. And here's the part that should bother you. The reason you pay it even though you know you're being robbed. You're a captive audience. You can't bring your own snacks. You can't bring your own snacks in. You're already inside. The movie's about to start. The kids want popcorn. They never have to convince you it's a fair price. They just have to be the only option in the room. Now the number that flips the whole thing over. Concessions are only about a quarter of a theater's sales, but close to half of its profit. The movie gets you in the door. The popcorn pays the rent. This is the oldest trick in business. Sell one thing at a loss to sell the thing that actually makes the money. Razors and blades. Printers and ink. Consoles and games. A movie theater is a snack bar that happens to show films. And they are not done with you. Before the movie even starts, you sit through 20 minutes of ads, and that's a whole separate business. One company sells that pre-show attention across most of America's big chains for hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Then comes the upsell, the recliner, the IMAX screen. $5 more for a format that costs them almost nothing once it's built. Same movie, bigger price. So, popcorn goldmine, ad money, premium upsells. This should be one of the best businesses on the planet. It's quietly one of the worst, because after the building, the staff, and the electricity to run a dozen giant projectors in half-empty rooms, a typical theater keeps about 4%. 4 cents on the dollar. All that popcorn magic, eaten alive by rent and wages. It only works when the seats are full, and the seats are emptying. Here's where the whole thing turns. The US box office in 2025 limped in around $8.5 billion, still down more than 20% from before the pandemic. Attendance, near half of its old peak, because why spend $50 to $100 dragging the whole family out when streaming is $15 a month and the couch is already paid for? And this is the number I promised you at the start. The largest theater chain on Earth is buried under about $4.5 billion of debt. It's shut hundreds of locations in a few years. A rival just filed for bankruptcy. A 4% business built for full rooms, trapped in the age of the empty one. So when people stop buying tickets one at a time, what's left? You reach for the one thing that still reliably prints money in this economy. You stop selling tickets and start selling a subscription. The big chains now push monthly passes, around $20 a month, watch all you want, and read the fine print you often can't cancel for the first few months. That's not a movie deal. That's a car wash. It's a gym. It's the forgotten membership that bills you whether you show up or not. The mighty movie theater, reduced to chasing the same small, boring, beautiful thing every cornered business runs to in the end. A payment that renews all by itself. So here's the real lesson, and it's so much bigger than movies. The thing that pulls you through the door is almost never the thing that makes the money. The film sells the popcorn. The cheap seat sells the recliner. And when the door itself stops working, everyone, everywhere, sprints to the same finish line. A bill you forget to cancel. So, is a movie theater still worth owning? If you love the big screen, own it with your eyes open. It is a brutal 4% business, fighting a couch that gets more comfortable every single year. But next time you go, watch what they actually sell you. Not the film. The 40-ounce soda. The reclining seat. The membership waiting at the door. Because the movie was never the product. It was just the trailer for everything else.